All right, let's jump right in. The world of real estate, it's not just about buying and selling houses. Oh no. Behind the scenes, it's like this giant, constantly moving chessboard with agents, teams, and even entire companies making these huge strategic moves that can completely redefine the market. And that really makes you wonder, right? Why is this industry always in such a state of flux? What makes a top producing agent suddenly decide to jump ship, or a massive brand decide to totally reinvent itself? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. And look, this isn't just a feeling or a hunch, it's the fundamental reality of the industry. As you can see here, the brokerage business is a busy one. Change is simply the name of the game. So let's take a closer look at who's moving and, more importantly, get into the why. First up, let's talk about the intense competition for talent. I mean, it is a perpetual battle out there. Established brokerages are always trying to recruit the best of the best, and you know what? Some of them are winning big time. Let's start with this. Just a number. 100 plus. That's not just a handful of people. That is a significant group of professionals, all making one single coordinated move from one company to another. So here's the story behind that number. We're talking about over 100 agents from a Keller Williams office down in San Diego County who all made the jump together to Coldwell Banker West. Now, this wasn't just some minor shuffle. It was a massive power play. It pushed Coldwell Banker West roster to over 1,100 agents. But what on earth makes a group that big decide to move all at once? Well, the reason they gave, it wasn't just about the money. Peter Mendiola, the president of Coldwell Banker West, points directly to their success in creating a culture that wins. And that right there tells you so much. It shows that a company's environment, its emphasis on collaboration and performance, that can be an incredibly powerful magnet for talent. Okay, ready for another eye-popping number? $135 million. That is the annual sales volume of a single team that decided, you know what, it's time for a change. This move involved the 20-agent Sandra Rathe Team down in Florida. They took that massive sales volume and brought it over to the Real Brokerage. And this is a totally different kind of story because it highlights the appeal of these newer, more tech-forward brokerage models that are popping up. And here, we see a completely different motivation at play. Sandra Rathe says flat out, it wasn't just about the commissions. It was the chance for her agents to get revenue sharing, to get company stock, that offered a pathway to build a legacy. This is so crucial. Financial incentives are evolving way beyond just a simple cut of the transaction. Now, it's not always about joining an existing office. Some really experienced leaders are taking a totally different path. They're launching their own brokerages, but, and here's the twist, they're doing it with the backing of a major national brand. You can see this happening with leaders like Shannon McNulty, who partnered up with REMAX because she wanted to build and grow something with her team. And then you have Sharon Quatrier, who affiliated with Century 21 to create a legacy that was, in her words, bigger than myself. In both situations, they wanted to be owners, but they chose the franchise route to make it happen. For Shannon McNulty, the real appeal was autonomy. You see it right here. Even though she's under the REMAX banner, she emphasizes having the freedom to shape this brokerage. It's about having control and building a company that really reflects her team's values and their standards. On the other hand, Sharon Quatart saw affiliation as a strategic key. For her, the established Century 21 brand, that was the platform. It had the tech, the marketing, the national reach to let her scale her impact from just a local level to a, quote, macro scale. But listen, this whole reshuffle isn't just happening with agents and teams. The giant parent companies themselves are making huge strategic moves to stay ahead in this incredibly competitive market. Take Home Services of America, for example. For years, they were kind of a quiet, behind-the-scenes holding company. But now, they're making this major pivot. They're stepping out from behind the curtain to become a much more visible, much more unified parent brand. So, why the big change? Well, according to CEO Chris Kelly, it's not about changing their core business. It's about changing how they communicate. They want to more clearly express their strength, their stability, and all their integrated services to both consumers and, of course, the agents they're trying to attract. And that drive for growth is it's happening everywhere. On one hand, you have this really targeted regional expansion, like Douglas Elliman planting a flag in Richmond, Virginia. And on the other, you have these ambitious global moves, with a company like eXp Realty launching in a key European hub like Luxembourg. The whole chessboard is just getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so after seeing all these moves, agents switching, leaders launching new ventures, and massive brands evolving, we have to come back to our main question. What is the engine that's actually driving this great real estate reshuffle? It all comes down to this one crucial concept, the value proposition. This is that unique mix of benefits that a brokerage offers. And it's not just one thing. It's the culture, the tech, the brand recognition, and the financial opportunities, all rolled into one powerful package. Every single move we've looked at today is about an agent or a company trying to find or to build a better value proposition. So, what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, the fight for top agents is absolutely fierce. Second, company culture has basically become as valuable as cash. Third, there is no single path to success anymore. You've got tech-focused firms, legacy brands, and independents all competing. And finally, agents are looking for so much more than just a paycheck. They're chasing ownership, they're chasing legacy, and they want a real stake in the game. Which leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In an industry with so many different strategies at play, from these culture-driven collectives to tech-powered platforms to the old-school legacy brands, which value proposition, which model do you think is going to win out and ultimately define the future of real estate?